Good afternoon again. I jumped back on to see because I don't know what happened. It just froze. So I don't know if it froze and you couldn't hear me. I don't know. But I jumped back on because what I was talking about season, because certain people in your life is season. And you got to understand that because a lot of people will mess you up because they're not going where you're going at. So if they're not going where you're going at, then they can't go where you go. You know what I'm saying? Because if you take them where you're going and they're not supposed to, they'll mess up. So that's why Jesus had only three that was close, and there was only three that went up to the mount. So they was able to go to the mount with Jesus. Because why? This is what I always say. I said, you don't got to beg nobody. You don't have to ask nobody. They're supposed to give you. And you don't have to beg from them. They going to give you whatever God tells them to give you, they'll give you. What God has for you is for you, but the people that in your holies of holies, you ain't gonna have to beg them. They for you. It's one thing I learned with my walk. God has hidden me for years, and everybody just can't walk with me. Why? Because God did not ordain for them to walk with me. The ones me just what God tells them to give me. When somebody walk with you, like John, Peter, and James, they walked with Jesus. And he knew that. And he favored them. He will favor you. God will favor you. And the people that walk with you and the people that you walk with, they'll favor you because God allows them to walk with you. Be able to walk with you. And they ain't going to bless you. I tell people this all the time. Philippians 4:19, God said, I will supply all your needs to his riches and glory. God is the one that's going to supply what? Your need, my need, to his riches and glory. That's where the blessing comes from. He allowed people to bless you. And when they do bless you, they'll do it out of, you give from your heart. You give to your heart. You don't do it just because, this did that or did. No, you do it because God told you to do it. That's to do things. When God tell me to bless somebody, I bless them. And I'm a cheerful giver. Thank you for that. Get something. And I've been there and done that. Oh, I gave you that. I need that back. No. Be a cheerful giver when you give. Because it's what God told you to give. And I had to learn that. It didn't matter. When you learn, you're going to be blessed because you did it from what? You did it out of the cheer of your heart because God told you to. You got to do what God tells you to do. Just like with the season things. Some people just season. And that's why listen to me, when people bless me and then they get mad at me and then they take their money back, I said, you was never for me anyway. See, that's what I understand because I discern in the spirit. If you bless me, you was never, God told you to bless me, then you're going to continue bless me. I don't have to beg from inches and glory. So we don't have to beg because promote, give you a prophecy and tell you, God said, do this and do that. And you don't do it, then guess what? The blood stain off of my hand. Because I told you, I gave you what God told me to tell you. That's how I know when people are for me. Me and my bestie, we've been bestie 30 years. And no matter what we go through, and I get, frustrated with her, she get frustrated, we're still besties. If you connected with somebody, guess what? You're not gonna get angry at them. You might get frustrated at the circumstance of the situation, but you ain't gonna get angry to the point where you said, that's it, I'm not gonna. No, you just seasoned. That's all you are. You just seasoned. See, one thing about me, I don't like mess. I don't. God is not a God of don't bother people. Only certain people that's in my holies of holies, in my outer court, and in my inner court. So I don't play games. I don't, because I don't have time. Why? Because I wasn't doing all of this stuff unless it's God. Unless it's spiritual, that's different. But just gossiping about this one, gossip. No, I don't got time for that. I really don't. I do not have time for that. So you got to maintain in these last days. You got to maintain in this season that you in, that you're seasoned with the right people. Because people know I would cut them off in a heartbeat. They'd be like, what in the world happened? Because I don't have time. Like I said, if you for me, you for me. I know who's for me and I know who's against me. People will come in that holy place, in that outer court, in that inner court, and they'll try to play a game with you. See, you can't play no game with me. You can't play no game with me. And the reason why you can't play no game with me, because if God be for me, who can be against me? And God will tell me, he said, cut her off. Cut her off right now. She ain't for you. Cut him off. He ain't for you. And people get mad at you. Because listen to me. The blessings of God is coming no matter if you with me or you're not with me. My blessings are coming and you can't stop my blessings. I had a lot of people with me now, ain't too many. Because why? Because they was never for me. They were never for me. They was in my outer, in my inner, and they dropped off. They dropped off. I was a pastor for 10 years, 8 years in the building. Still a pastor, but I'm just saying in the building. And people came and people left. Oh, Pastor, I'll never leave you. I'll always be there for you. As soon as they said that, I knew they was leaving. I promise you. When you know you in a congregation and people come, but you got to know that people gonna go. That's what I'm saying about the holies of holies, the outer court and the inner court. So many people. I started a ministry 3 times in one building because the first ones got mad at me, dropped off. The second ones got mad at me, they dropped off. The third one got. Guess what? I understood because they wasn't for me. They were just for a season, but not all of them. Some of them was awesome men and women. I'm not talking about that, but I'm just saying you got to know who's in your what, who's seasoned and who's there with you. Me and my bestie, we've been besties for 30 years. We don't call each other every day, but that's my girl. If I need her, I could call her. If she need me, she can call me. That's my bestie. Because we've been riding it and you know, we stay together. We don't visit each other that often because she got a life and I got a life. But I know she for me. And if I need her, oh, she gonna answer. You gotta know who's in your what? Who's in your holies of holies. You got to know who's for you and who against you. If somebody ain't saved, it could be your child, it could be your grandkids. They're not for you. They're really not. You got to have people that saved, sanctified, filled with the precious Holy Ghost, and they got you. When I go down, they're gonna pick me back up. When something happened, they're gonna pray for me. They're not gonna talk about me. That's what happens. That's what God, listen to me very carefully. God will always test people in your life. He would test them and see if they really for you. He will. I'm telling you. I had so many people in my life. That's why when people fall off, I be like, I know they wasn't for me. They was only for a season. And it's not that I didn't love them or they didn't love me, but they were just for a season. Some people are just for a season. Your ride and dies, they're going to be there till you die. They got you. I know the people that I could call and say, listen, I need a word, or listen, I need prayer, or listen, I need this. And they be like, okay, I got you. I got you. Got another one, 20 something years. I could call them up and say, they be like, okay, what's going on? And they don't even have to ask what's going on. They got me. That's why I only have a few in my holies of holies that I can call, that I could say, pray for me. And I know they praying for me. Fast for me. I know they fasting for me. Read the word with me. I got you. You got to make sure you know. Because people, just because people are around you They may not be in your holies of holies. They might be in your outer court or your inner court. Be careful who you let in your holies of holies. I'm telling you, that the sheep that we was separated, and because when I got too close to the sheep, then it was carnal minded with me, and then things happened, had to let them go. Gotta be careful. I'm telling you, this thing is real. You gotta be careful who you let in your holies of holies. Now you got somebody in your holies of holies, and you know that they'll die for you, or they'll go to the end for you, then keep them there. But if you got them ones afflicted 1 minute, oh, I'm with you, and the next minute I'm over here, I don't got time, because you going again in the spiritual realm. You got to have the evidence to speak the language. You got to be able to hang with me, because if you don't hang with me, guess what's going to happen? You going to fall, then I'm going to end up falling. We both going to fall. I have to have some people that can carry me in the spiritual realm. And I know if you can carry me, ain't too many people, and this is honest God truth, that can carry me in the spiritual realm. When I'm going through a warfare, I'm going through something, I know who to call, and I know who not to call, because they'll drop you. This is real, y'all. This is real talk. You got to make sure you are with the people that God has ordained for you to be. I can have a Bessie for 20, 30 years, but she may not be that one in the spiritual realm. So I can't call her when it's time for me I'm going through a warfare, and I need her to pray. I need her to intercede for me. And she can't do that, so I know I don't call her then. I might call her for something else. Because, it was, something that happened. But the thing about it was, I said, me, I've been saved a long time, and I don't play with God. You ain't got to fight nothing. God said, if God be for me, who can be against you? The only thing you and I got to do is give it to God and leave it alone, and go on and do what you got to do in your life. But so many people, I've never seen so many people, they talking about all the witches and all the warlocks and the blue magic. You rebuke that, and you ain't got to be tangled with that. You got the power and authority and the dominion. Oh, the devil that, the devil can't do nothing unless you allow him, because you got the power over the devil. I pimp him. He can't do nothing to me. When I go to sleep at night, I go to sleep and cut all the lights off. Why? Because my angels is all around me. If I got the angels all around me, then what I'm worrying about them demons for? They can't do nothing to me. You got to understand who's in your holies of holies. Jesus is number one. Then you got your angels. So what are you afraid of? That's why I ask people, what are you afraid of? Who are you afraid of? If God is for you, who can be against you? Who are you afraid of? Ain't no demon. Ain't no witch. Ain't no voodoo. None of that stuff can come at me. Because why? I got the power and authority and dominion to destroy. I don't care who it is and what it is. You come at me if you want to. You won't be with me too long. Because I have discerning of the spirits. And I see you. See, I don't say nothing to people that come in my life. I see them. I already know you got to be bold as a lion too. I can't have a weak person with me, because they're gonna drop me. They're gonna drop you. You got to have strong people in faith, in God, that don't play with God. Whatever God tells them to do, they do it. Just like Jesus said, I'm about my Father's business. I'm about Jesus. I'm about my Father's business. Whatever God tell me to do, I'm going to do it. If you can't hang with me, then I got to go. Because why? Three things. The holies of holies, the outer court, inner court. You got to make sure that people are for you. And that's why I always tell people, I say, I don't got to get on Facebook, YouTube. I don't got to get on none of that and beg nobody. Because I feel like this, if you're for me, then you're for me, and you're going to give. You're going to be like, I'm going to sow into her because why? Because she's so into me. Not because that's my friend, that's my girl. No, because she's connected. Who I sow to is because God put it in my heart and I sow to them. They're connected to me. And when you connected to me, I'm going to bless you because I'm for you. I'm for you. I'm not against you. If you say something to me and I may not like it, I'm still going to sow to you. Why? Because I'm for you. And you are fertile ground. I know who is a fertile ground because I know they walk with God. And they walk with God. Just like Enoch walked with God, David, Elijah, they walked with God. They was one with God. And when you one with God, you in the holies of holies with Jesus Christ, then guess what? You know who's for you. You got to know. I know when I get to that point and I know I need something or I want to do something and God to put that on that person and they're so. That's why I said I don't have to beg. You don't have to beg for nobody. Either you gonna give or you ain't gonna give. You ain't got to beg for me. Because if God tell me to give you, I'ma give you. I know you are fertile ground. And every time I give you, I'm gonna be blessed. Every time I sow into who God tell me to sow, I'm blessed. That's what I tell you. You're going to do what God has ordained for you to do. Say something, listen to me. This done happened to me so many times. If I say something to you and you don't like it, then you stop giving. You wasn't. I'm still a fertile ground. I'm still blessed. Just because you stop giving don't mean nothing. It really don't. I'm still going to be blessed. But it's where God allowed me to see who you really are. My God. It allows me to see who you really are. That's what he does. Because no matter what, if God said give it, I'm gonna give it. Even if I might be frustrated with you. I might not like what you're doing. I might not like what you're saying. I'm still gonna give it to you. Why? Because I'm real with it. I'm real with it. I'm real with it. When you real with God, he'll be real with you. He'll be real with the things of you and the things that God has for you. I said, you got to get into that point where you know who's for you and who's not. I don't care if it's my kids. You can ask them, they'll tell you. If you ain't for me, you ain't sowing tithes and offerings to me, you ain't for me in the spiritual realm. Because my kids know. My sisters, they know. Whoever, you know me. You got to make sure people are for you in every area of your life. Do you understand me? That's the number one. Are you faithful unto God? And then you faithful unto the ministry, because you got to be faithful to God first, because you ain't going to be faithful to a ministry if you're not faithful unto God. And I knew that. The ones that came every Sunday, no matter what. And if they didn't come, they called me and told me they, something going on. And they were faithful unto God. And they was faithful unto the ministry. And then you had some ones that they get mad and they would get off, or they wouldn't sow their tithes and offering. Because why? Because they wasn't faithful unto God. Because when you faithful unto God, you in the holies of holies. I promise you. You got to be faithful unto God, because I don't need people sowing into me and you're not faithful unto God. You only do it because why? You're trying to stay connected, but you can't be connected to me if you're not connected to God. You got to be connected to God, first of all. The first one, to love that God with all the heart, mind, soul, and spirit. See, I don't like them wishy-washy ones. I really don't. 1 minute you with me, and the next, I don't. Because like I said, I had ministry for 8 years, and I had people in that ministry, and I had some faithful ones, and I had some ones that wasn't faithful. So you can't come at me any kind of way, because I already know 8 years as a pastor. And some was faithful and some wasn't. Some gave and some didn't. But guess what? One thing about me, I taught them, I gave them, I preached, I teach, I poured out. I was there every Sunday. And when we had Bible study every Wednesday. I was there faithful. No matters. Sometimes it would be just me and DeAndre, my grandson, because they'd be wishy-washy and they wouldn't come because they was mad or they didn't feel like it. You got to be faithful unto God. That's the most important thing in ministry and in your walk with God. You got to be faithful unto God first before you can be faithful to anybody else. I'm faithful. I done been all kinds of things helping out in ministry, but one thing, I was faithful. And if I did not show up, if I did not come, I will call my pastor, whoever I was under. They'll tell you, she'll call and say, Pastor, something, I won't be there. And they'll be like, okay, thanks for calling. You have to be faithful unto God and faithful of whatever God is giving you. You have an assignment. Some people just have an assignment to be a blessing. Some people have an assignment just to show us something. Everybody got a different assignment. And that's why I refuse to beg anybody for anything. One of my sweet, sweet sisters in Christ, she told me, she said, ask. That's all you got to do. She said, put it out there. So I will put out my Cash App, and some people give and some people don't. She said, but don't worry about it, long as you put it out there. Because some people don't know. They really don't. And I put it out there, and let me tell y'all something. My God, I have put it out there to a player. I said, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. But then God said, no, you do it anyway. Because there's some people that they do give. And they give because why? They understand the process and they understand the proceedings of giving. And it's not always money. Faithful. Showing up when you're supposed to show up. I got one young lady, oh my God, I don't care what. When I get on, she gets on because she's faithful. And if she can get on, she'll let me know. She's faithful. If you got one faithful person walking with you, you can do it. If you got two or three, he said, with two or three, he'll be in the midst of it. When they faithful, when I see her, my whole smile, I just smile because I know she's faithful unto God. I have a couple of them that's really faithful. Because why? They're faithful unto God and they want to get what God has for them. I know the faithful ones. And I know the ones that, 1 minute I'm here for you, baby, and the next minute I'm gone. I know them and I get it and I understand. But you got to understand, you got the ones in your holies of holies, they're faithful. You got the one in the outer court, they faithful sometimes. Sometimes they, then you got them ones you can't depend on them. But I ask God, I always ask God to send me some faithful people that love you so we can do that. Because it's not about me. It's about us getting out there and telling people and getting the lost. But if I don't have nobody to help me, what you gonna do? Some pastors, they are faithful unto God. They love God. They do everything that God tell them to do. And even if they may not have that many members, they got the faithful ones that carry them. They carry them. In the book of Deuteronomy 7, he only had a few, but they were faithful. They were faithful. So long as I got a few faithful ones, guess what? I'll be able to do what God told me to do. Because you can have a whole congregation and half of them ain't faithful, half of them ain't gonna do what God tell them to do. You rather done not even having them. You be like, oh Lord. Some people have a big church, but half of them ain't even faithful. You still only got maybe the faithful 3, the faithful 12, or the faithful 70. Jesus had multitudes of them, but they wasn't faithful. You have to be faithful unto God and you have to be faithful unto the word of God. I had to get this out because where I'm going at, God is dealing with me with certain people that you can't bring them where you going at because they're not going to be faithful. So you got to get the ones that's faithful. Because if you get the ones that's faithful, you can go wherever you want to go. You can go around this whole nation just with 2 or 3 people. Because they faithful unto God, not you. If they faithful unto God, then they'll be faithful to you. I noticed that. That's why I tell people, you got the saints and you got the ain'ts. The saints got your back. That's why I tell people you don't have to get on. I know people do what they want to do, and I don't got nothing to do with that. But you don't have to get on, and you don't have to beg nobody. That's one thing. And I've been in ministry 20 something years, and I was a pastor for 8 years in a congregation. And I used to tell them, I'm not gonna sit up here every Sunday and beg y'all. I had a little thing that I would put up there. And you want to give, you give. I'm not standing here talking to the same people Sunday after Sunday, Wednesday after Wednesday. You know I have to pay for they gave fine. They didn't give fine. God will always supply your needs. God gave me favor. He gave me favor. When you faithful, listen to me very carefully. God will give you favor over every situation. I was in that building from 2010 to 2018. And the favor that I had with the man and the woman of God, I mean, it was favor. I had revivals. It was favor. Favor from God. Because why? Because I was faithful. It wasn't because I had a lot of people. It was not that. It was because I was faithful and to doing what God ordained for me to do. And that's why when people come in my life, I already know. People say, "Oh, uh, I'm gonna be with you, Pastor." I already know you're not gonna be with me. You're only gonna be with me for a little while, but that's okay because they not want me to leave. They please don't leave. I said I gotta go because God told me to go. So you got to be faithful until you do. All right, y'all. I'm getting off. I will be back on next week. This was just a test run because I had told the prophet I said, I'm gonna get on, and the Holy Spirit said, "Don't you lie." And he did. He said, "Don't you lie." He said, "You get your butt on there because you said you was gonna get on." So I got on. So I'm getting ready to get off. I will be back on next week, and I will be, doing my hour like I usually do. But be blessed. I love you. Be blessed. See you next week. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.